All right, good morning and welcome to our channel, or good afternoon. We're going to be talking about Inspire. So, the housing quality inspection will be changing to a new name. It'll be called Inspire. These inspections and what we'll be discussing today will be both for landlords and tenants. The effective date will be February 1st of 2027. And it's a delight to see that after 4 or 5 decades, they have finally taken out a lot of the useless aspects of the housing quality inspection, and they're focusing more seriously on the real issues. So I'm going to bring in some notes for you guys, but before I do that, I'm going to do a few introductions. So give me just a minute. I'm going to put up my screen from my company. If uh, if you're a tenant or landlord and you have a prospective problem with your housing quality inspection or Inspire, starting as of 2027 or even as of current, as you can see from the photo up here, you can reach our company by appointment. Okay, so at www.section8consulting.com, we have an email there and a phone number. But do keep in mind, my office is by appointment only. I'm not going to accept calls unless you have an appointment. And since I am not federally funded or have grants, we're a private solution company, which means I don't offer services for free. All right, moving on from there, let's bring in the notes. These notes will also be in the description and comments section to help you guys in case you have learning disability or you need to retrace the information we discussed today. So the key update for Inspire for HUD's newer inspection framework is focused on actual health and safety and functional problems. And it's moving away from the housekeeping, cosmetic appearance, and subjective opinions, which was largely what most housing quality inspections were, because most of the people that were trained to do the job through your PHA or public housing authority simply were not trained to the level that you would have when you actually purchase a home and pay $200 or $300 for a real inspector. Okay, so moving on from there, the subjective opinions. However, for most housing choice vouchers, known as Section 8, the project-based voucher, and Section 8 moderate rehabilitation programs, HUD has extended a mandatory Inspire compliance until February 1st, 2027. The local housing authority may choose to begin Inspire earlier, so it's quite possible that sometime between now and February of 2027, that this implementation could roll out in some of the larger cities, and you can verify your PHA's current position on that policy by going to HUD's 2026 voucher program notice or the Federal Register extension. Both of these are links that we'll be providing again in the comments section and the description. So, what Inspire will mean, it stands for the National Standards of Physical Inspection of Real Estate. HUD designed it to align rules across HUD programs and place greater emphasis on whether a home is safe, habitable, and functioning properly. HUD Inspire rules or overview can be viewed at the additional link I'm going to be posting again in the description and comments section. For voucher inspection, the focus will include assisted unit itself, common areas serving the assisted unit, exterior associated with being served or assisted unit. It does not mean that every part of a large property must be inspected for the voucher household. And so you want to take a look at the PIH notice 2026-18 for more information there. The most important correction for this video is going to be the PHA has already switched to Inspire as of August 2026, and the voucher may still use former HQS standards until the 1st of 2027, but they must follow current federal carbon monoxide and smoke alarm requirements even during the transition. And again, you'd want to visit the Federal Register notice for those updates as well as new policy. What inspectors will be looking for under Inspire, which is critical to both tenants and also the landlord, will be how to organize conditions in the units in common areas and outside areas. These are practical high risk categories that include smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms, unsafe electrical outlets, exposed wiring, panels, GFCI, AFCI protection where required. For instance, the plug that you might have in your bathroom, which would protect you from electrical shock. You know, there has to be a stop breaker in there. Gas, oil, water, and sewage leaks, non-working heat in serious HVAC conditions, and unsafe water heaters, mold-like substances, moisture intrusion, pest and infestations, unsafe stairs, handrails, guardrails, walkways, trip hazards, and sharp edges, inoperable toilets, sinks, tubs, showers, refrigerators, and cooking appliances, deteriorated paint, potential lead based hazards, fire hazards, or improper storage of flammable materials. So you can see they're taking a pretty hard position on the more serious facts, and we're getting away from arguing whether or not there's a gap in the door letting in hot or cold, or whether the windows have screens, or maybe the faceplate's missing off an outlet on the floor. That's what a lot of the inspections used to be, just Mickey Mouse. So they're going to be focusing on that. This will also grant tenants greater ability to be able to report important issues related to the factors we just discussed. As many of you, roughly, half the landlords out there are doing a great job, and the other half may be struggling or otherwise a slumlord. And then we also have cases where tenants are creating destructive problems as well, which creates a nightmare for the landlord. So you can see it from both perspectives, obviously. So tenant responsibilities, they should not assume every failed item is a landlord responsibility. A tenant can be responsible for damage caused by the household, blocked access, missing tenant supplied utilities, unsanitary conditions that create a real hazard, or failure to allow repairs. Let me remind you guys, failure to allow repairs or even responding to notices is a great way to get terminated. They want the public housing authority and the property owners, this is their investment. So unless you want to be terminated, you must absolutely comply with those rules. Before inspection, tenants should test smoking carbon monoxide alarms, report failures immediately, make sure the inspector can access every room, utility area, and exterior entrance. Removing items that block exits, windows, electrical panels, heaters, and walkways, report leaks, pests, mold, broken locks, electrical hazards, and appliance problems in writing. Guys, whether it's the landlord or you're the tenant, everything needs to be a material record. Conversations are worthless, okay? So there needs to be written notice, email notice, and probably the least desired is text, okay? Moving from there, keeping dates, photos, repair requests, and landlord responses. I would also advise landlords to do the same thing. Do not make unsafe repairs yourself, especially when it includes things like electrical, gas, structural, or lead paint repairs. Inspire removes subjective housekeeping and cosmetic judgments. Again, which was a large problem through the earlier way they were doing things through HQS or housing quality inspection. But a condition that creates a health and safety hazard can still fail. And so we're going to move on to landlord responsibilities before I take a nice swig of my energy drink here to keep going. Oh, goodness. Talking very quickly like this takes a toll on the throat. All right, so landlords should prepare for inspections instead of relying on reinspection. Checking alarms, locks, windows, outlets, GCFIs, plumbing, appliances, heat, water temperature, stair hazard rails, trip hazards, and signs of leaks and infestation. Once the PHA or Public Housing Authority notifies the owner of a deficiency, if any of it is a life-threatening condition, generally must be corrected within 24 hours. If it is severe or moderate non-life-threatening condition, generally must be corrected within 30 days unless the PHA approves an extension. There can be some variation with that 30 days depending on circumstances. So I encourage both the tenant and the landlord to figure out under the HAP contract what is required locally through your local public housing authority, okay? To keep everybody from having civil liabilities. Low-level conditions may be recorded for information without causing the unit to fail. If required repairs are not made, the PHA or Public Housing Authority may withhold or abate housing assistance or terminate the HAP contract or require relocation. Voucher inspections remain what they would call pass or fail, not numerical inspire property scores. So under PIH notice 2026 through 18, you can learn a little bit more about fail and pass, okay? This can be a rather contentious subject, especially for tenants and landlords, considering that we're going to be reinventing the housing quality inspection to focus on more serious matters. We hope that the appropriate training obviously follows that. So the last part I'm going to include here is inspection timing and family protections. For HCB units, PHAs must conduct an initial inspection before occupancy and the period inspections at least every 2 years. Small rural PHAs may inspect every 3 years. If a participant or government official reports a life-threatening defect, the PHA must generally inspect and notify the owner within 24 hours. For non-threatening reports and issues, the general rules inspection and owner notice within 15 days with repair generally due within 30 days. The exact language and timing for all, and including categories, will be under Title 24, Code of Federal Regulation 982.405. So, looking at all these things here, I'm going to tell you guys, if you're struggling with this or you're uncertain as a new landlord, you might want to reach out to a professional. Obviously, we can toss my company in the hat for that, but same thing when it comes to tenants. There are a lot of contentious issues behind this. My office receives almost a 50-50 mix between both landlords and tenants complaining about the either opposing party. And so I think that this is one of the things that can be fairly solved if we have proper maintenance notice and inspections and cooperation on all parties' sides. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Remember, this can be effective some places in the country as of now in 2026, and we should expect a full rollout no later than February 1st of 2027. Enjoyed talking with you guys and hope to see you again. We make videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays that are live where you can ask questions. And then also we make EDUs or educational videos, about one or two a day on Mondays, Wednesdays, and of course Saturdays. Our office generally does not make anything on Fridays. Okay. Thank you for your time and enjoy your day.